Hello everyone, welcome to Kumari's Kids channel. Today's story is going to be about the Lion King. Let's get started. The sun came up over the African plain, hot and brilliant just as it has done since beginning of the time. Today, the first rays of morning sun fell on an astonishing sight. Across the vast, pride land, animals moved great moved in great herds, heading for a single destination. Elephants plodded steadily, antelope leaped through the grass, giraffes looped, cheetahs raced, ants marched in a single line, while huge flocks of flamingos winged across the sky. They were all journeying to Pride Rock to celebrate the birth of King Mufasa's son. Above the gatherings, on top of the Pride Rock, Rafiki, the wise old mystic, approached King Mufasa and Queen Sarabi. He cracked open a gulf, dipped his finger in the liquid, and made a special mark on the infant's forehead. Then he carried the cup to the edge of the rock and held it high. A loud cheer rose from the plain. Elephants trumpeted, monkeys screeched, zebras, rhinos, and a host of other animals stamped their hooves. Then a hush fell over the gatherings. Together, the animals of Mufasa's kingdom knelt before Simba, the new prince. Yet one family member did not attend the ceremony. Mufasa's brother, Scare, had spent the entire morning toying with a mouse. He was just about to eat it when Zazu, the king's majordoma, appeared. Startled, Scare turned, and the mouse scrambled away. Now look, Zazu, you have made me lose my lunch, Scare complained. You'll lose more than that when the king gets through with you. But Scare wasn't listening. He was still hungry, and Zazu was beginning to look pretty tasty. Scare released the bird. Why, if it isn't my big brother? He sneered. Sarabi and I didn't see you at the presentation of Simba, Mufasa said. Is it anything wrong? That was today, Scare said. Oh, I feel simply awful. It must have slipped off my mind. Well, as slippery as your mind is, you are the king's brother, Zazu reminded him. Zazu also reminded Scare that he should have been the first in the line to congratulate his brother. I was first in the line until the little hairball was born, routed Scare. That hairball is my son. Mufasa reminded him, and you are the future king. Mufasa reminded him, and your future king. I shall practice my courtesy, Scare said. Then he turned his back on them and walked away. The days passed, and Simba grew from an infant into a cub. One morning before the dawn, Mufasa led Simba to the top of Pride Rock. As the sun edged over the horizon, Mustafa said, Simba, look, everything the light touches is our kingdom. A king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as a new king. And this will be mine. Wow, said Simba, looking around. But what about that shadowy place? Mufasa turned to his son. That is beyond our borders. You must never go there, Simba. As they wandered away from Pride Rock, Mufasa said, Simba, everything you see exists together in a delicate balance. As a king, you will need to understand that balance and respect all creatures because we are all connected in the great circle of life. The young cub tried to listen, but a grasshopper caught his eye and he chased after it. Just then, Zazu arrived with morning report. Sir, he addressed Mufasa, hyenas have crossed into the Pride Lands. Quickly, the king ordered his majordoma to take Simba home. Oh, Dad, can't I come? Simba whined. No, son, his father replied, and he took off after the dark shapes in the distance. After Zazu made sure that Simba was home safely, the excited cub found Scare stunning himself on a rock. Hey, Uncle Scare, Simba cried. My dad just showed me the whole kingdom and I'm going to rule it all. Scare scolded. Then slowly he began to smile. So your father showed you the whole kingdom? Did he did he show you what beyond that rise of the bottom? No, said Simba. He said, I can't get there. I can't go there. And he is absolutely right, Scare replied. It's far too dangerous. Only the bravest of lions go there. An elephant graveyard is no place for young prince. An elephant? What? Said Simba. Wow. Oh dear, I have said too much, said Scare, griningly slyly. Just do me a favor, he added. Promise me that you will never visit the dreadful place. And remember, it's our little secret. As Scare backed away, Simba stared at the distant spot on the horizon. He had no idea that Scare had cleverly set a trap to rid himself of the future king forever. Simba knew that he would be disobeying his father if he went into the elephant graveyard. But hadn't Uncle Scare said that only the bravest of lions dare venture there? Wouldn't Dad be proud of such a brave cub? Thought Simba. Soon after, Simba went on search of his best friend Nala. He was happy to find Nala with a, a mother, with her mother Sarafina, and the queen Sarabi. Mom, he said to Sarabi, I just heard about this great place. Can Nala and I go? Where is this place, Simba? His mother asked. Oh, near the water hole. The cup fibbed. Uncle Scare had said it was a secret. All right, said Sarabi. As long as Zazu goes with you, not Zazu, thought Simba. He will spoil everything. As Zazu led the way, Simba whispered to Nala, we have got to ditch him. We are not going to the water hole. We are going to an elephant graveyard. When Zazu looked back and saw them whispering, he said, just look at you two. Your parents will be thrilled. One day you two are going to be married. It's a tradition. Marry? Forget it, said Simba. I can't marry her. She's my best friend. And besides, when I am when I'm king, I do just as I please. Zazu shook his head. With that attitude, you will be pretty pathetic king. Simba laughed at Zazu. I can't wait to be king. The cub shouted, and he scampered away across the plains. Nala followed, and the two of them darted in and out of herds and escaped from Zazu. It worked. We lost Zazu, said Simba, laughing. Now we can look for the elephant graveyard. In the spirit of victory, Simba playfully leaped for Nala, but she was too quick for him and flipped him on to his back. Together they tumbled down a hill until they landed with a thud. Next to them was a huge elephant skull. This is it, we made it, said Simba. Wow, exclaimed Nala. It's really creepy. Come on, said Simba. Let's check it out. Before they could climb into the skull, Zazu caught up with them. We are way beyond the boundary of Pride Lands, he said. And right now we are all in very real danger. I laugh in the face of danger, said the brave lion cub. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, replied the elephant skull. Then out of the skull's cavernous eye holes popped three slobbering hyenas. Well, Banzai, what have we got here? Said one hyena. I don't know, Zenzi, answered another. What do you think? Id, the third hyena, just licked his lip and laughed, baring their fang in the wheat greens. The hyenas crept toward the trespassers. They grabbed Zazu first. Why don't you pick on somebody your own size? Simba shouted. The hyenas dropped Zazu and raced after the cubs. When Zenzi threatened Nala, Simba swift his claws across the hyena's nose. The hyenas raced after the cubs, who found themselves trapped inside the bones of an elephant rib cage. Then the angry hyenas advanced toward Simba, their sharp teeth gleaming. A giant paw suddenly struck Shanish, sending her and the other hyenas into a pile of bones. Not far from where Simba waited, a herd of wild bees grazed. Not far from the herd, three hyenas waited too. They were waiting for a signal from Scare. Shani saw him first. There he is, let's go. The hyenas ran toward the wild beasts, sensing dangers. The herd panicked and stamped into the gorge, straight into Simba. Nearby, Mufasa and Zazu noticed the dust rising from the gorge. Mufasa, scared, yelled, appearing from behind a rock. Quick, Stampede! Simba's down there. With no thought for his own safety, the Lion King leaped into the gorge and snatched the cup out of the path of deadly hooves. Mufasa jumped onto the rocky edge and set Simba down. Suddenly, Mufasa felt the rocky wall crumble beneath his behind paws. He fell back into the hand, badly hurt. He tried to climb another cliff. Looking up, he saw Scare. Brother, help me, Mufasa pleaded. Scare leaned toward Mufasa and pulled him close. Long live the king, he whispered. Then let go. Mufasa lost his grip and disappeared beneath the mass of moving animals. Unaware of what Scare had done, Simba saw his father fall. When the wild bees were gone, the cub raced down into the dust filled gorge. There Simba found his father. He nuzzled the motionless body, but the great Lion King was dead. Scare appeared beside Simba. What have you done? He said. He tried to save me, the cub answered. If it weren't for you, your father would still be alive, Scare snarled. Run away, Simba, run away and never return, confessed and confused and heartbroken, Simba began to run. He did not see the hyenas join Scare or hear his uncle give the order to kill him. When Simba opened his eyes again, the burning sun and the vultures were gone. But a market and a warthog were standing over him. You okay? Said the mercat. You nearly died, said the warthog. We saved you. Thank you for your help. Simba replied. He stood on wobbly legs and, scared to, started to leave. The mercat called after the shaky cub. Where you're from? It doesn't matter, Simba said quietly. Then he admitted, I did something terrible, but I don't want to talk about it. Then you are an outcast, cried the market. So are we. My name is Timon, and this is Pumba. Take my advice, kid. You gotta put your past behind you. No past, no future, no worries. Hakuna Matata. With no with nowhere else to go, Simba followed Timon and Pumbaa to their jungle. Home as Timon handed Simba some wiggling bugs to eat, the merchant repeated that this is the great life. No rules, no responsibilities, and best of all, no worries. Time passed. In the carefree company of his new friends, Simba grew into a young lion. One night, while the three of them were gazing at the stars, Simba said, someone once told me that the great kings of the past are up there. Wethok up there watching over us. Pumbaa and Timon laughed. Who'd have told you a crazy thing like that? Said Timon. Simba, thinking of his father, was silent. The next day, as Simba was wandering through the jungle, he heard his friends shout for help. Simba hurried toward the sound. Pumbaa was caught beneath the trunk of a fallen tree, and Timon was trying to protect him from a hungry young lioness. As she leaped, Simba threw himself forward and knocked the lioness aside. For a moment they tussled, then the lioness pinned him to the ground and stared down at him. Simba, she said assistantly. Nala, he replied, as the lions hugged Timon, cried, what's going on there? Simba laughed and introduced Nala to his friend. She smiled politely, but she could not stop staring at Simba. Finally, she said, everyone thinks you are dead. They do, Simba said. Yes, Scare told us about the stampede. What else did he tell you? Simba asked cautiously. What else matters? Nala exclaimed. You're alive, and that means you are the king. King, said Timon and Pumbaa in surprise. Excusing themselves, Simba and Nala strolled into the jungle. Scare let the hyenas take over the pride lands, Nala said. Everything's destroyed. There's no food, no water, Simba. If you don't do something soon, everyone will starve. I can't go back, he insisted. Nala did not understand why Simba refused to accept responsibility and help the pride. What's happened to you? She asked. You are not the Simba I remember. You're right, I'm not, he said. Now are you satisfied? Before he turned to leave, Simba added angrily, listen, you think you can just show up and tell me how to live my life? You don't even know what I've been through. Nala called him, but Simba ignored. That night, while the others slept, sat on a rock and gazed up at the twinkling sky. I don't care what anybody says, he said aloud. I won't go back. What would it prove? Anyway, it won't change anything. You can't change the past. Then Simba heard a strange sound. Somewhere in the jungle, someone was chanting in a sing song voice, as if from nowhere, the bent figure of an old baboon appeared. Who are you? Simba asked lightly, annoyed. The question is, who are you? Said the baboon. Simba thought for a moment, that then sighed. The old baboon said, I know your father. My father is dead, Simba replied. No, said the baboon. He's alive. I'll show him to you. Just follow old Rafiki. He knows the way. The old baboon led Simba to a clear, smooth pool. Look down there, Rafiki advised. In the pool, Simba saw only his reflection. Look harder, the baboon insisted. A breeze rippled the water. When the pool became still, Simba stared at the face of his father. You see, Rafiki said, he lives in you. Simba heard a voice call his name, and he looked up and saw the image of his father in the stars. Look inside yourself, Simba, said his father's image. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life. Remember who you are. You are my son and the one true king. Remember, the vision faded. Simba remained alone, thinking. The next morning, Nala, Timon, and Pumbaa looked over for Simba. Finally, Rafiki caught up with them. You won't find Simba here, the baboon said. The king has returned. Timon asked, what do you mean? He's gone back to challenge his uncle, Nala exclaimed. Ahead of them, Simba moved swiftly toward Pride Rock. As he crossed over into his homeland, he saw ruin and devastation everywhere. For a moment, Simba hesitated. Then he felt a fresh wind and saw rain clouds gathering on the horizon. With renewed hope, he continued his journey. Soon Nala joined him, as, as did Pumbaa and even Timon. As they approached Pride Rock, they saw some hyenas. Pumbaa and Timon stayed behind to divert the pack. Nala went to find lioness while Simba forged on alone in search of his mother. Meanwhile, at Pride Rock, Scare, Scare Regine without shame. Where is your hunting party? He shrieked at Sarabi. There is no food, she replied. The herds have moved on. We have only one choice. We must leave Pride Rock. We are not going anywhere, he growled. Sarabi replied, then you are sentencing us to death. Then so be it. I am the king and I make the rules. If you were half the king of Mufasa was, Sarabi began, and ragged scare struck her and she fell. A tremendous roar echoed among the rocks. Scare rolled and saw a great lion before him. Mufasa, he said, gasping. No, it can't be. You are dead. Weak and delirious, Scare backed away from the ghost. What do you want? He cried. Why are you here? Go away. Go, leave me alone. Although many years has passed, Sarabi still recognized her son. Simba, she said quietly, you are alive? Then Simba saw Scare crawling up Pride Rock. Simba dashed up the steep rock, dodging fire and smoke. This time he trapped Scare at his edge. Why don't Simba, you don't understand, Scare insisted. I didn't kill your father. It was the hyenas. They are the enemy. Now that you are back, together we can defeat them. Run away, Scare, Simba commanded, repeating the advice his uncle had once given him. Run away and never return. Scare started to slink away, but then he turned away and lunged for Simba. Acting swiftly, Simba hurled Scare off the cliff. The sound of hungry hyenas defeated up from the gorge, re-yelling Scare awful fate. As rain began to fall, Simba climbed to the top of Pride Rock. Then the clouds parted, revealing star-filled sky. Simba roared triumphantly, and all who heard him reacted with joy. Soon, under the rule of a wise and brave king of Pride, lands flourished. The herds returned to the graze, and food was plentiful once again. Soon the animals gathered once more to celebrate the birth of the king's son. Simba and Nala watched proudly as Rafiki held their new cub high over Pride Rock. As the morning sun touched the African plain, Simba thought of something his father had once told him. As king's time as a ruler rises and falls like the sun, one day the sun will set on my time and rise with you as the new king. Someday Simba would pass on these same words to his own son, continuing the unbroken circle of life.